Champagne. Guys, have you ever wondered why just one glass of champagne can hit you so fast? It all comes down to carbon dioxide, CO2. This technology was perfected in France all the way back in the 17th century. When you open the bottle, the pressure drops and the gas starts escaping in the form of bubbles. In your stomach, those bubbles act like tiny elevators. They literally push ethanol molecules through the lining and straight into the bloodstream. Biologically, that speeds up intoxication several times compared to regular wine. The brain reacts instantly with a dopamine release, creating that sparkling, bubbly rush. But chemistry is brutal. With that sudden flood of alcohol, the blood vessels in your brain expand, which often leads to spasms and the famous champagne headache. It's an explosive cocktail that gives you energy first, then suddenly shuts you down and sends your brain into a protective sleep mode. Whiskey. Whiskey is a drink with a serious chemical tail. Monks started distilling it back in the 15th century, calling it the water of life. Unlike vodka, whiskey is loaded with congenitors, complex organic compounds like fusel oils and tannins that it picks up from oak barrels over the years. From a scientific point of view, those impurities are a real nightmare for the liver because it has to break them down along with ethanol, which slows the whole detox process down. In the brain, whiskey starts aggressively blocking GABA receptors, which are responsible for inhibition. As a result, signals between neurons slow down, speech gets slurred, and coordination goes out the window. At first, your mood goes through the roof with pure overconfidence, but then those same chemical compounds trigger intense dehydration in the brain and a brutal hangover. This is the kind of drink that literally dries out your neurons, leaving you foggy the next morning. Gin. Gin is basically a distilled medicine from the 17th century. Its main secret is terpenes, which are found in juniper berries. The most famous one is alpha-pinene. Chemically speaking, these compounds have a strong diuretic effect, meaning they make your kidneys work 3 times faster. Gin literally flushes water and essential salts out of your body, and the way it hits the brain is very specific. Because of the aromatic oils, the intoxication feels clean and light, but that's the trap. The alcohol in gin quickly suppresses serotonin production, the happiness hormone. That's why throughout history, gin was called the drink of melancholics. It often brings on sadness or random irritation. Your body loses electrolytes and your brain sinks into a state of low mood. It's a real chemical attack on your kidneys and your psyche, disguised under a fresh pine-like aroma.
Tequila. Tequila is exotic chemistry straight from the heart of the agave plant, first made in the 16th century. Unlike grain-based drinks, tequila contains unique sugars called agavins. There's a myth that it gives you energy, but biochemically, alcohol is a depressant. That rush feeling happens because the alcohol from agave crosses the blood-brain barrier very quickly and hits the hypothalamus. That's the part of the brain that controls your instincts and body temperature. That's why tequila can make you feel adventurous so fast and suddenly heat up. You get impulsive because the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic, basically falls asleep. On top of that, when those agave sugars break down, they create intense oxidative stress on cells, which can lead to neuron damage. Tequila is a quick loan of pleasure from your body, one you'll have to pay back tomorrow with serious stress on your nervous system. Vodka. Vodka in its modern form appeared around the 15th century. From a chemical standpoint, it's the perfect solution, just ethanol, C2H5OH, and water. It has almost no impurities, which is exactly why it hits the body as directly and brutally as possible. Once it gets into the bloodstream, alcohol attacks red blood cells, breaking down their protective fatty оболочка. Blood cells start sticking together into microscopic clumps that clog tiny capillaries in the brain. The result is microstrokes and hypoxia, not enough oxygen. The brain falls into a state of euphoria simply because it starts suffocating. Your mood suddenly turns into total chaos because vodka instantly shuts off the centers of self-control. This is the most aggressive drink for your biochemistry. No extra flavors, no extra softness, just a pure neurotoxic udar that breaks down neural connections faster than any other alcohol. Beer. Beer is one of the oldest drinks in human history, brewed all the way back in Mesopotamia. Even though it has relatively little alcohol, its chemical makeup is actually pretty complex. The main player here is lupulin, found in hops. From a pharmacological point of view, it acts as a mild sedative. When lupulin meets ethanol, the two create a powerful braking effect on your nervous system. That's why beer makes you so sleepy and lazy. But that's not all. Beer also contains phytoestrogens, plant-based versions of female hormones. With frequent drinking, they can start affecting your hormone balance, lowering testosterone and shifting your mood into a more apathetic state. The huge volume of liquid combined with carbon dioxide stretches the stomach and puts stress on the heart, forcing it to work harder. This is a drink that slowly puts your energy to sleep and changes your biochemistry on a hormonal level.
Rum. Rum became legendary in the 17th century in the Caribbean. It's made from molasses, a byproduct of sugarcane, which means it contains a crazy amount of esters and higher alcohols. That chemistry makes rum incredibly aromatic, but also incredibly toxic. Once rum gets into your system, it causes a sharp spike in glucose, followed by a powerful insulin release. Your internal organs go into shock from those swings. In the brain, rum hits like a heavy hammer. Its impurities strike the cerebellum hard, and that's the part of the brain responsible for balance. That's exactly why drunken sailors had such a shaky walk. Under rum, your mood often turns unpredictable, shifting from wild laughter to sudden bursts of anger. Your body burns through huge amounts of vitamin B trying to neutralize the breakdown products of sugarcane. The result is brutal thirst and total disorientation the next morning because your brain has literally burned up in that sugar fire. Cognac. Cognac is an aristocrat with seriously complex chemistry, set apart as its own category back in the 16th century. It's rich in polyphenols and tannins, which it picks up from oak barrels. On one hand, in small doses, those compounds can initially widen blood vessels, so you feel relaxed. But that's a clever trap. As soon as the ethanol level in your blood starts dropping, you get a sharp rebound spasm in the vessels. That puts massive strain on the heart and blood pressure. Tannins slow down alcohol absorption, so the intoxication comes on gradually, but it also leaves the body more slowly. The liver is literally struggling to filter these complex molecules. Under cognac, the brain sinks into a state of deep but heavy relaxation. Because of the high concentration of fusel oils and alcohol oxidation products, cognac, more than many other drinks, can cause long-lasting cognitive impairment and brutal headaches that can last the entire next day.